Hi everyone, and welcome to the part 14 of AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner series. So, without further ado, let's get started with the questions and answer. So, question number one is that which service provides a user the ability to warehouse data? Keyword is warehouse in the AWS cloud. The options are option A, Amazon RDS, option B, Amazon VPC, option C, Amazon Redshift, and option D, Amazon EFS. And the correct option is Amazon Redshift. So Amazon Redshift is basically a fast, fully managed cloud data warehouse that makes it simple and cost effective to analyze your data. Question number two is that which component must be attached to VPC to enable inbound internet access? And the options are option A, VPC endpoint, option B, internet gateway, option C, VPN connection, and option D, net gateway. And the correct option is the internet gateway. So this is a visual of this internet gateway. So here we can see that we have this VPC, our virtual private cloud, and if we want to access the internet from this VPC, then it must pass through this internet gateway. So as the name indicate that the internet gateway is basically used for the outbound and inbound connection to the internet by the VPC. Question number three is that a company has a MySQL database running on a single Amazon EC2 instance. The company now requires higher availability in the event of an outage. Which set of tasks would meet this requirement? And the options are option A, configure EC2 auto recovery to move the instance to another availability zone. Option B, migrate to Amazon RDS and enable multi availability zone. Option C, enable termination protection for the EC2 instance to avoid outages. And option D, add an application load balancer in front of the EC2 instance. And the correct option is migrate to Amazon RDS and enable multi-availability zone. And how this can be done? So here we can see that we have this database. This in this case, in our case, we can say that this is our RDS, and here we can see this is the primary copy, and the data is written to this primary copy inside this availability zone. Let's suppose we can say this availability zone 1, this is 2, and this is 3. But at the same time, data is replicated to the other instances of the database inside the other availability zone. So if there is outage of this database due to any reason, this instance is down, then the services can be made accessible for the second availability zone and so on. From if this one fails, again from the we have another availability zone and another instance, and that can also be made available. So this is the concept of relational database service and its replication across multiple availability zone that enable us to achieve higher availability in case of or the event of an outage or disruption. Question number four is that a company wants to ensure that AWS Management Console users are meeting the password complexity requirement. How can the company configure password complexity? And the options are option A, using an AWS IAM account password policy. Option B, using an AWS Security Hub managed insight. Option C, using an AWS Organizations Service Control Policy. And option D, using an AWS IAM Identity and Access Management User Policy. And the correct option is using an AWS Identity and Access Management Account Password Policy. And what is this AWS IAM policy? So this basically enables us to create policy and enable it across the users and resources. So Using the IAM or AWS Identity and Access Management, we can create policies, and using these policies and permission, we can ensure that which user can access which resources. So here we have the resources and these are the users, and these access from these users to these resources can be controlled through the IAM policies. Question number 5 is that a company has multiple data sources across the organization and wants to consolidate data into one data warehouse. Which AWS service can be used to meet this requirement? Again, when we have the question about the data warehouse, and the options are option A, Amazon Athena, option B, Amazon Redshift, option C, Amazon DynamoDB, and option D, Amazon QuickSight. And the correct option is Amazon Redshift. What is Amazon Redshift? Amazon Redshift is a fast, fully managed cloud data warehouse that makes it simple and cost effective to analyze all your data. Question number 6 is that a user has underutilized on-premises resources. Which AWS cloud concept can best address this issue? And the options are option A, elasticity, option B, higher availability, option C, security, and option D, loose coupling. And the correct option is the elasticity. So the elasticity is basically the ability to acquire resources as you need them and release resources when you no longer need them. Here we can see that in this picture, when we have low demand means that we have few users to access the application, then we have the fewer instances as per the requirement of the user. But when we have higher demand, so we have also higher number of instances or the compute resources. So here the E stands for basically elastic, and so the elastic means that it provides us with the elasticity of decreasing or increasing the resources as per the demand of the traffic. Question number 7 is that under the AWS shared responsibility model, which of the following is the responsibility of AWS? And the options are option A, applying AWS IAM policy, security policy, option B, applying updates to the hypervisor, option C, enabling server-side encryption for objects stored in the S3, and option D, patching the operating system on an Amazon EC2 instance. And the correct option is applying updates to the hypervisor. So the hypervisor is basically the underlying virtualization software that is installed on the bare metal server. Here, let's suppose this is our bare metal server, and the hypervisor is basically installed upon this. And this, after the installation of hypervisor, we install VMs on this hypervisor. So the hypervisor comes inside the basic physical infrastructure, and it is the so it is the responsibility of the AWS or the cloud provider. The updates, patching, installation of the hypervisor and the hardware is the responsibility, always the responsibility of the cloud provider. Question number Question number 8 is that during a compliance review, one of the auditors requires a copy of the AWS SOC 2 report. Which service should be used to submit this request? Keyword is compliance, and the options are option A, AWS Artifact, option B, Amazon S3, option C, AWS Trusted Advisor, and option D, AWS Personal Health Dashboard. And the correct option is the AWS Artifact. So the AWS Artifact, it basically available in console, is a self-service audit artifact retrieval portal that provides customers with on-demand access to AWS compliance documentation and AWS agreements. And this is the picture of this AWS artifact that it can be used to download the compliance reports as well as the acceptance of agreements and management of the notification. Question number 9 is that what is the recommended method to request penetration testing on AWS resources? And the options are option A, fill out the penetration testing request form. Option B, open a support case. Option C, request a penetration test from your technical account manager. And option D, contact your AWS sales representative. And the correct option is fill out the penetration testing request form. So this is just a snapshot of this request form. These are some of the fields that are or may be available on this penetration request test form. It may contain the IP address to be scanned, i.e. the destination address that you want to pen test. And then you may be asked to give the source or the target, indicate whether the instances, the source of the scanner, the instances of the AWS that you are using, whether they are the source or the target, then the instance IDs, and then the source scanning IP from which you are conducting the pen test, and then the expected bandwidth usage during your pen test. So these are the some of the fields that you may be needed to fill the penetration request form. Question number 10 is that which Amazon EC2 pricing option is the best suited for application with short-term, spiky, unpredictable workload that cannot be interrupted? And the options are option A, reserved instances, option B, dedicated host, option C, Spot instances, and option D, on-demand instances. And the correct option is the on-demand instances. So always remember, when the traffic is the requirement is short term, the traffic is spiky and unpredictable. I mean, you never know that when the traffic will increase, when it will decrease, and the application cannot be interrupted. Then you should use the on-demand instances, because during on-demand instances, the when the traffic increases, so the instances will also increase, or the compute resources will also increase, and when the traffic workload decreases, so the EC2 instances will also be decreased and released. This is again the visual of this. So when you have lower demand, the on-demand instances will be lower. You will require fewer instances, and when the demand is high, so the compute capacity will also be high as per the demand. So that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. So hit like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Thank you and bye.